Hello and welcome once again to the hallowed halls of literary as FECK. And oh dear, there's something quite disturbing going on here in Nick's window. I am the littlest hobnob, and that sketchy dude is my regular co-host. Who are you?
Um, Mr. Clean, of course, or
Mr.
even Mr.
Clean.
Sheen for that matter.
Mr. Clean. And back
Although
for
Mr. Sheen
more.
comes Mr. Sheen comes dangerously close to being a little too close.
We might get
Um,
sued.
yes.
And of course, glutton for punishment guest.
The unclean Gavin Whittaker.
Yes, as we established.
How often we get that?
So yeah, so just ignore the flies swarming around in, in the
It's why I
background.
come prepared
Yes,
with my gloves.
yes. So so what happened last time we did a couple of novelizations, and so we kindly
For those of
oh
you
no
who aren't in the business and don't know what a novelization is, that's where somebody has adapted a film to the medium of a novel or literature in some way.
there's nothing more condescending than a teacher, is there? Um,
I hope not.
um, so yes, so last time we did novelization, and we thought, oh, Gav can do us a couple more recommendations, and obviously he thought, ha, I'll fix them, and and yeah. So what did you decide to introduce us to then, young Gav?
Well, we've got the novelisations of The Golden Lady and what's the other one? Is it Expose or Expose?
Yes, expose is the title of the
Expose.
book. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's quite interesting actually because clearly the book it's clearly it's well, I'm guessing it must be a UK release, right? Because it's all about Fiona Richmond, right?
Mystery on it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's on the cover there, and
Yes. I have some suspicions about that, but I also have a question about the Golden Lady. And that is the question of is which comes first, the film or the book? I mean, I think with The House on Straw Hill, it's pretty clear that it's a film, and then
I know why
it,
you're confused because it says on the cover, right, soon to be a motion
yeah,
picture.
it does. And
But
also,
I think they're just fucking with your head.
okay, that you think that's their gaslighting.
I
Um,
have a well, I have a suspicion that's the novelisation of an earlier version of the script that they never filmed, and that's the whole script was basically rewritten at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean both of these books we're gonna we'll get into this. How much of stuff that's in these books is not anywhere in the screen version. Um, but with that one I really did yeah, I really did wonder. And then because you look up the film and like the script writer has one name, and then you look up the novel has another writer's name attached, and you Google them together and nothing appears as one being a pseudonym for the other or something. So yeah, I'm kind of mystified as to what's going on there. But
However,
anyway,
it is one of those mysteries that's like not really worth solving, I think. But
I've got some clues anyway when we go into that one.
oh, okay, good, good.
okay.
We'll get there. But first we'll do well, yeah, expose or
Yeah.
as the film is known either expose, The House on Straw Hill or Trauma. So we'll talk a little bit about the film because we were going to do it. So we did a
Yes.
tribute to Udo Kier on another show, and we were going to talk House on Straw Hill. Um, but then Gav mentioned the possibility of us doing this, so we kind of laid off talking about the film, so we could talk a little bit now. Um, and it's yeah, so House on Straw Hill or Expose was one of those ones that was on my radar, obviously because it was a video nasty, right?
Mhm.
Um, Probably the reason most people remember it, really. It was on the video nasty list, so obviously people who would otherwise not really be particularly interested in tracking it down, it became one of those titles. Yeah,
It can't have been at the top end of the list, surely. I mean, I mean, it seems like it's the sex would be, I would think, would have been more problematic for the British censorship board than
I
it's.
mean, Gav might remember more than me on this one, but no, I think it is on because obviously you had the master list and then you had the 39 and then the other ones and then the other ones. But I think it is on that 39
The
list, isn't it?
main list. Wow.
Um,
Okay.
but then
Well,
again,
it was cut theatrically, I believe, on its original release, and uncut on video. So yeah.
right. But I mean, so much of stuff on that list now is just mind-boggling, really, that at a certain point in time,
It was
you know,
dangerous.
people stepped in and said, no, this will destroy the fabric of our nation. Um, you know, but
Hmm.
of course, half the stuff just probably didn't even properly get seen by anyone, right? It was just blanket raid on anything that sounded anyway dodgy. And yeah, if I remember correctly, the expose, the video cover was quite kind of grim looking, didn't it? It looked worse than it was.
Yeah, I think Fiona Richmond in the shower being punished with a knife.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what didn't help a lot of those videos in those days was that they had those photo covers as well, isn't it? Rather than a bit of artwork. So the famous one, of course, the one that was kind of asking for it is the Driller Killer cover, right? That's the one that became the icon. Whenever they had a Video Nasties article in the newspaper, every time Driller Killer. Which is amazing, really, because they look at this filth our kids shouldn't see, so we'll print it in the newspaper, which
Hmm.
doesn't have a certificate on it, which kids can read. It's like, yeah, um,
Funnily enough, I happen to be halfway through that, and I have never seen it before.
oh, the Driller
Um,
Killer.
yes, because I just re we
Oh,
just Clive and I just read Abel Ferrara's recent autobiography, and obviously it made me think, oh, you know what? I haven't seen quite a lot of his filmography, really. Actually,
oh, okay,
I've seen a
okay.
brace of them all around the same time, all around the time of Bad Lieutenant, and wow, it's an eye opener.
It's a good
It's
film, I
so
think.
it's really quite astonishing, and it's so grim, like not grim, but just filthy. And you want to be wearing a pair of these just to watch the film.
Yeah. Well,
It
Kim Newman as well, famously, and he's quite good at getting to the heart of things, isn't he? Often he referred to it as something as the only Gore film to, I'm butchering it, but paraphrasing something like the only Gore film to kind of almost become like an art house film in a way, right? Like,
Yes, yeah, it feels like Pasolini directing,
yeah, yeah.
like a like a yeah, Driller Killer.
Um, if you're going through the filmography, by the way, Nick,
Mhm.
because we recently did The Brown Bunny, I
Yes,
recommend you watch The Blackout
the Blackout.
and
Okay,
see what you make of that in comparison to The Brown Bunny.
okay,
The Blackout came out first as well.
okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Is Gallo in it by any chance? Because I know
No,
he actually is in a couple of Ferrara
no, no,
films.
he's in the funeral, isn't he? And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, and obviously a fairly early starring role for Udo Kier, who
Hmm.
was dubbed by someone else.
Yeah,
Uh,
that doesn't do the movie any favors. It would have been far better if we just had. Yeah. Anyway.
and
It's quite distracting. I thought it's quite distracting if you know what his voice actually sounds like. If you'd only like been in this one film and you never seen him anything else, maybe it's not quite as distracting.
yeah, no, I agree with you actually. It doesn't jump out as necessarily a bad
Oh,
dub.
no, no. It's not
Um,
like Matt Berry dubbing his own voice in what's it? The fuck's it called? The show you introduced me to about the horror writer who's
oh, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's not distracting.
Um, so Udo Kier plays a novelist working on his second novel. He's on a deadline, so he needs a secretary. Enter Linda Hayden of Blood and Satan's Claw
Hmm.
fame. She turns up and yeah, she's got a big knife in her suitcase and her
Amongst other things.
picture, his picture, frame picture, so it's something a bit dodgy and he's has these weird kind of violent flashbacks and has to wear latex gloves whenever he has sex with his girlfriend, as played by Fiona Richmond, which would have been a kind of selling point in the UK at least. I don't know, Gav, you might know. Did Fiona Richmond, was there ever kind of a an attempt to kind of break her into the US market? Or did she ever do any photo layouts for any of the American magazines?
I
Or
think a couple of the films obviously had US releases, but I think it's very much a UK phenomenon.
yeah, I feel so as well. But you never know. I mean, it's interesting when you look at this period of time. It's like you assume something, but even though they never went big, there might have been, a spread in some uh magazine and there was a small hardcore group of American perverts who like traded information and knew who these people were, so she may have a minor
And there's an issue of Cavalier or one of
yeah,
those like
something like
those
that,
fourth rate, skin mags from the
or
70s.
Adam Film Monthly had a small little thing about
Well,
exploring.
there's always aficionados, Clive. I mean, I think that's I had a friend actually I went to high school with here in Canada who was obsessed with Mayfair, um, magazine and like because it was an import you could buy. So at like 16, and he could pass for 18, so he was our guy, that you would
Mm,
give your money to and ask him to buy you skin mags at the tobacco shop. Um, but uh, but yeah, so his thing, I remember him just he was obsessed with Maria Whittaker and Samantha Fox and kind of the page three models who were also doing kind of Mayfair
right.
spreads. But he was a Canadian 16-year-old entirely obsessed with big-breasted English girls.
Interesting. Did he adopt a kind of Cockney accent and go
No,
door to
no, I
door
thank
in
thank
around Canada trying to sell like cucumbers or something?
like a cheeky chappy
Yeah, yeah.
adopted a polio limp. Yes.
I was always pleased. My my magazine of choice, I think, was White House.
Okay.
That was a pretty good one.
I don't think I ever saw an issue of White House.
I think it's where the Noise band got the name as well, right? Because it was like the mixture of the fact that there was the magazine and there was Mary Whitehouse. So it was like,
Right. Was the magazine named deliberately to annoy her? Was it a
Yeah, I think that was the case. Yeah,
right?
big.
Yeah, like there
oh,
was
okay,
they were actually deliberately needling her by yeah.
yes. Um, or what does Lloyd Kaufman call her? Mary Blowjob or something like that, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Okay. Yes.
yeah. So it's essentially it's an erotic thriller, really, is what it is, isn't it?
It's very Giallo adjacent, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As directed by James Kenham Clark, produced by Brian Smedley Aston. Clark also directed Richmond in things like Hardcore and Let's Get Laid and the credit that always makes me laugh is it's from Norfolk International, which is a fantastic name. Good. I was recently looking up something totally unrelated, and I found another Norfolk International film I wasn't aware of, and I was wondering if Gav was familiar with the 1979 film The Music Machine. Have you ever seen this?
Oh, the disco one, yeah.
Yeah,
The
that
rhythm dance.
sounds pretty good.
That's really nice for you, but
There's a weird video cover. I was looking on IMDb and there's a weird video cover. I'm not sure where it's from, if it's Greek or something like that. And I don't know if they've got the wrong film, but on their video cover, there's like a bunch of guys in masks with shotguns and stuff. Like,
I
is there a heist component of the music machine?
don't think so. No.
I don't think so either without having seen it. But
Uh,
Yeah, I've heard it said as it's kind of like it's like the British not very good Saturday Night Fever, right?
Yeah, yeah, with Birdie Main and Esther Ransom. So,
Right, I think that's why I came across it as Freddie Main, I think. Um,
yeah, I think it's Severin, like the theatrically toured it in the UK.
Say again.
I think Severin are like showing it on the big screen.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, I might put
To
off
like
watching the
coincide with that,
YouTube bit then.
yeah, coincide with that Alan Jones book about disco.
Ah, that would make sense. Yeah, I haven't got to 1979 yet, but I would imagine it's almost definitely in there.
Hmm.
Um,
I think they own all the James Jones parts. So,
um, yes, but of course, let's not bury the lead. You've got
Hmm.
Udo Kier, you've got you know, Fiona Richmond and Linda Hayden, but of course, most importantly, Carl Howman of Brushstrokes fame in a I Am a Vampire t-shirt.
Yes. Hmm.
the pumpkin featured Carl Howland.
Yeah, according to the book, yes. I'm sure Carl Howman would be shocked to hear that he has a head like a pumpkin. I never really thought of it. I mean, Vic Armstrong, I would have thought is slightly more pumpkin adjacent,
Hmm.
but so I actually think House on Straw Hill is actually pretty good. I remember liking it when I first saw it and watching it again. I was kind of surprised it holds up. It's not bad. I mean, for a British kind of erotic thriller from 1975, I think you're expecting something a lot more low rent, but it's quite good, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe a bit more quiet than you expect for a film that was a video nasty, but
Yeah, yeah.
well,
Nick?
No, yeah, yes, it's fine.
Okay.
Like, like it was. I mean, I didn't resent it at all. Yeah, I just, it's. I'd just like it to be a touch either sleazier or something, or more gory, or like I wanted to just push itself just a little bit further, and I think it would be probably a Stone Cold classic. But it is beautifully shot. Like
Yeah,
they make really good use of that, whatever that kind of wheat field is. You know, and the scene that actually made me laugh, I think, was when Paul, who's our, struggling writer, is kind of quite a dick as I mean, as it plays out, he's kind of a dick from the very beginning, right? He's not
yeah,
likable at all. And then as the story goes on, we find out that he's an even bigger dick than maybe we realized. Um, but quite early in so that whole scene where he goes to pick her up at the train station, and the two local youths, right, who come out and kind of hit on her and then try to bully him. It's just Udo kicking their asses, like rail skinny Udo, and he's looking, particularly kind of like dapper in his little, it was great.
yeah. Action star
Hmm.
Udo Kier. Um, but no, I think it's pretty good. And the video mastery thing, in a way, I suppose, sets you up for a bit more. But then again, there's other titles on the video nasty list that give you even less than this in terms of your nasty, right? So I think when this thing hit theaters in the mid 70s, I can see if you went into it cold, you'd be, oh, that was not bad. I mean, you'd think, yes, it's not up there with, the clip, but we're doing a reasonably good job of keeping the British end up here in terms
Hmm.
of mid 70s kind of erotic thrillers.
Yeah, I think the title is maybe, I mean, particularly
Which one?
yeah, I was going to say, I think particularly the House on Straw Hill one is maybe the most misleading because that to me led me to think, oh, I'm into um, House on the Edge of no, not House on the Edge. What's the other Last House on the Left slash Straw Dogs territory,
Oh, because
right?
I that's the title I tend to prefer because it's a bit more low key. But yeah, yeah, I suppose you could think that if you're thinking in that way, or you could think it's Wurzel Gummidge as a rapist or something like that.
Which,
Would be terrifying.
that would be particularly when he pops one head off.
Yeah, and his knob's probably a carrot or something, so you're
Oh
worried
God.
about getting some sort of soil infection or something.
Fungal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I think maybe I was set up for something. I thought I was going to be more like squirming in my potentially like because some of that's again both of those films actually Straw Dogs and Last House on the Left are quite
Oh yeah, it's not.
worthy,
I mean,
right?
yeah, on either side of the spectrum as well. It's nowhere near as good as Straw Dogs,
Right.
and nowhere near as kind of just whatever the hell Last House on the Left is. I still don't quite know what Last House on the Left is after all these years, but it's a
No.
fascinating watch. And yes, I suppose you could argue that Linda Hayden's kind of a Susan George kind of surrogate, I
Mhm.
suppose, in some ways.
Although that's another strange thing. So, there is a rape scene in the middle of the film involving these two bohunk country, guys. Um,
Pumpkin and
yeah,
Stuntman.
Pumpkin and Stuntman, yeah. And it's really treated in a I can't quite figure out what they're attempting to say. Like it's so blasé in a way, right?
Well,
She seems
not a million
so
miles away from the scene with Susan George and Straw Dogs, right? There's always kind of confounded people, isn't it? It's like, like, is she into that or not?
right.
And yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, So my guess is what happened with this novel, though, is that Philip Massinger, is that his name? Um, phones up Sphere and is like, "Well, I'm done. I've adapted the novel. Or sorry, I've adapted the film. It's 90 pages. Is that is that that's enough, right, for a novel?" I'm like, "No, no, you need another 70." And then he's like, all right. And then just invents 70 pages of shit that is not in the film at all. Lengthy back flashbacks to other countries. Yeah, like there's a huge amount of backstory in this adaptation. And it's also hilarious. Like that cover is so like
yeah,
sleazy. And,
yeah.
and it gives you no idea you're getting to a horror. You just think, oh, I'm buying something that is going to come in a brown paper bag, and I can take this to my car.
I believe in its original print run, each paperback came with its own shoehorn attached, so you could do it yourself as you went along. Um,
Right.
Well, this came out like 2 years after the film as well, so it's like I can only think that maybe the novelizations of the other two Fiona Richmond films, Hardcore and Let's Get Laid, they were popular enough to justify going back to this one.
Oh, okay.
Also by Massinger, right?
Well, that's the confusing thing that the Hardcore and Let's Get Laid novelizations that they created a Philip Messenger, who I think there's a guy called Michael Robson who also worked on the film, but this one is created the same person, Philip Matthews. Like it's actually the director, James Clark, who wrote this that name.
Hmm.
so
So so
it's,
it's
yeah,
so
it's
it's
a director
almost
coming back to the film.
so it's almost not quite, but it's almost like a house name kind of scenario that a few people might have written.
Yeah. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, this is written by the director. I did lots of this. I had lots of backstory.
See, you don't get this anywhere else, and who else other than Gav would bother to research quite so much into this? But no, this is good. This is good stuff. Um, so yeah, I mean, so getting to the book, I mean, yes, obviously they sleazed it up,
Oh
and
yeah, impressively. I mean, and it's the film definitely has its sleazy moments. There's the masturbation scene, which is uh
good.
effective.
Yeah,
Yes. Um,
no complaints.
no, but yeah, but yeah, the book definitely pushes that even further. Sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry, go on.
No, no. So yeah, so the main addition is, of course, so uh, do we need? No, we don't need to necessarily spoil it, but the the kind of reveal at the end of
Mhm.
the film is given its, that's really fleshed out, um, um, with obviously a um inter-oral cum shot fixation attached. There's an awful lot of people thoroughly enjoying a swallow of brine, right? Um,
Yes, yes. Snowballing, I think it's called.
no, that's when you share it with a loved one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Don't
All
you know
right.
your terms, Nick?
I haven't read the book in a while. For some reason, I think maybe I was projecting back on. Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, yes, yeah. As the novelization can say a lot about the writer, the podcast can say a lot about the podcastee. Um, but
Mhm.
no, it's always quite interesting when you do read these. It is interesting. There's always a little tell. There's always like a fetish that kind of comes up
Hmm.
once or twice, too many times for it to be a coincidence, and it's always interesting. Aha, I see what this. Because these things were
Hmm.
written very quickly, I would imagine, to a deadline. So that
No,
there's
no,
no
no rubber gloves in the novelisation, though.
no
Surprising.
no 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 no.
I was hoping I get some explanation of why he's into that, but no, it's rubber
Yeah,
gloves.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
obviously Massinger was like, I'm not into rubber gloves. I like cum shots, so we're gonna concentrate on that instead.
Yeah, because it doesn't explain it in the film either. It's a very underwritten part of the whole yeah. Like what yeah, why? Because he doesn't have them on in some sex scenes and he does in other ones.
Yeah, but there's something about Udo Kier putting on rubber
Oh
gloves
yeah, yeah. It's
seems just right. I think
yes.
it's a nice addition. So missing from the film in the book, I don't think that car, the car in the river thing isn't in the film, right? If memory serves,
No, that is.
is it?
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's
Oh,
it's good. It's the big last moment when the car bounces down the hill into the
oh,
into
fuck! I totally
the
my
swamp.
memory's shot to shit. And how about strap-on stuff? Is that in the film? I don't think that is
No,
it?
I don't think so.
I think I would have remembered
Yeah, no.
Fiona
Fairly
Richmond
certain
on the
that's
end of
not.
Linda Hayden's strap-on,
Yeah,
but
no, no. In fact, I don't think there isn't, is there a sapphic scene in the film or like other than just kind of comforting each other, but is there
you're using
actual
highfalutin words I don't understand now, Nick. What do you mean?
on the
Is there any
island
lezzing it up
on
in
the
in
Isle of
the
Lesbos?
film? Yes. Yes. Is there any trips to the island of Lesbos? Yes.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think there is. Gav?
Yeah.
Our resident Lesbos expert.
Possibly briefly, but not in the same thing as the book with the strap
No,
Yeah,
on.
no.
no. Um,
One thing
but
that's confusing too is one of the so there's two lengthy flashbacks. One that kind of sets up who the young secretary kind of is, and maybe her backstory, and kind of gives you a bit more, yeah. And then the
sorry,
other one,
sorry, I just to interrupt. I
oh,
just
yeah.
realized perfect subtitle for this because of that scene.
Hmm.
Blood on Satan's strap-on.
God, you should make that film, Clive.
I already did. It's not getting distribution, unfortunately. I don't know why.
Um, but yeah, so we also then get a lengthy flashback to Paul's backstory, but because Paul changes his name at some point, you don't real. I mean, it took me maybe I'm dense, but it took me quite a long time of reading that section before like, who is this new character they've introduced into this, and they're concentrating an enormous amount on in this back half of the book, and then I was like, oh, okay, it is Udo's character from the film, but like because he does it as a different name, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah. I would say as well, it's quite an easy read, and I didn't mind reading it at all, and because I liked the film as well, so I was quite happy to. But it really does feel like some novelizations do a good job of like going back to the kind of source and like building from scratch or whatever. But this really feels like retroactively,
Yeah,
because
it's searching.
none of the kind of interactions between the two leads really make any psychological sense as you're reading the book. It just
Yeah.
seems like nonsense. And it works in the film, like when she sits down behind the typewriter and takes control and starts writing the book for
Hmm.
him. in the film, that's a kind of quite effective scene. In the
Hmm.
book, it just seems silly, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It doesn't really work. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think if I'd have gone along to see this in a theater in 1975, and then a couple of years later, oh, hello, I remember this film. I wonder I might, because obviously there would have been no video yet. I feel like revisiting this. I'm a very open-minded fellow, and yeah, I suppose it does the trick. I mean, taken on its own terms, it's not a bad little. It gives you
It
a
does.
little extra. Gives you a little
But
extra.
if you had the opposite experience, say that you had found this, a greasy copy of this, on,
I
you know,
believe it was sold originally with like grease, like rubbed on.
I would imagine, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
one of those rotating kind of paperback things that you
Oh
find
yes, that's the
in,
in a newsagent as well, not a
yeah, yeah,
bookshop, a newsagent. Yeah,
yeah. And then you read it, and then you were like, "Whoo, I've got to get me down to the video shop and see this." I think you'd be in for a bit of a disappointment, perhaps, if you were primarily into the prurient side of the book.
yeah, yeah. No, I can imagine going to picking this up because a newsagent wouldn't have not sold it to you. I don't think because there wouldn't have been a
No?
certificate on the book. So
Yeah.
I know our local newsagent would have given it to me with my sherbet strawberry and my panda pop.
They used
Yeah,
to let kids read anything. I mean, I think we've kind of, in a way, we've kind of sadly moved past that. I think now there is more concern and control over what ends up in kids' hands, despite the fact that most of them have access to this machine, and its endless source of whatever you want. But
yes, and home tutors like us.
yes,
Yeah,
um, but yeah, yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, so yes, I think you'd be disappointed if you had rented the film based on the book. I
maybe.
suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this novelization, Gav?
No, no, I think I've nailed it, haven't we? I pegged it.
Which you dropped at our feet like a cat with a dead pigeon.
I think probably, I think probably it's better though if you see the film first and then yeah read the book. Yeah, yeah, added extra. But if you yeah, I can see if you read the book first, the film's a bit of a letdown.
Yes,
Yeah.
which look,
Or
I did.
yeah. Or just watch the film and not bother with the book might also kind of work. I mean,
Yeah. Because given the fact that they've added about 60, 70 pages worth of stuff that's not in the film, it doesn't actually really add anything. Like, um,
yeah,
yeah.
no, it's kind of overall the same kind of effect, I think. Sadly, however, this this is the highlight of the show.
Yes, it certainly is, Clive. Yes.
Yes.
Holy
Because
shit.
yeah.
Holy shit, Gav. Uh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
what's wrong with you?
And, this is interesting. This is a case where how did I do this?
Well, I
I
watched the film first.
I think I did the opposite. I think I
Oh,
read the book first and then watched the film thinking, well, maybe if I watch the film, I'll understand better what I read in the book, and was more confused by the time I got to the end of it. I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea what this was all about. Um,
So tell us, how did you what's your story with this, Gav? Because I was vaguely aware of the film. I hadn't seen it until I watched it for this. But yeah, so what did you see the film as a novelization? What why? Just why?
so I remember seeing the film first, and then for some godforsaken reason, I decided to pick up the novelization. It just struck me how utterly different this thing is, and how
Yeah. You know there's people you can talk to, Gav. You can,
well, the funny thing is, as I was attempting to get to grips and understand what the hell either of these things were, so I started looking up. I was like, I need to find like maybe somebody's reviewed the novelization, right? But guess what? No one has. You can go to Goodreads and there is one review, but it's like just it's a 3-star review. That's all with no
really?
actual review. Yes, one person has left a 3-star review with no
If
text
that's
and
out of
no.
like 100 stars, then maybe I might understand. But
Um,
I might leave one after this, but it
I
just
was gonna say
yeah.
because the other thing I did find was like thankfully some maniac called Gav Crimson had left an enormously long review of the film on
Oh, okay. I haven't
Letterboxd.
checked that out yet. I haven't got around
Uh,
to it. Yeah.
and that actually did help me start to kind of parse some of what maybe is going on in the film.
Oh,
But
I'll
I was like,
definitely be checking that out.
why
I'm a big
hasn't this
fan
Gav
of that
person?
lunatic's writings.
I was like, yeah, but I did think to myself, why hasn't this Gav person also written a review? So please, if you can
Yeah,
get in contact with him, Gav, let him
Yeah.
know.
If you know, if you can find them, you can hire Gav Crimson. Du- 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 du-
Um, yes, yes.
so
So
when I first read this book, I thought it was like a source novel, and it like when they changed it into a film, it like completely changed it. You know, sometimes source novels are completely different to the film, but as far as I can see, this is this is always meant to be a tiny novelization of the film. So because I didn't have a life outside of the film. The book came out in '77, and the film came out in
Oh,
'79. So something clearly when they prematurely ejaculated it onto the bookshelf.
yeah,
Yeah,
so this is my question too, because as I read the book, then I started to think like, and then with the fact that the book comes out in '77 and the film comes out in '79, I started
yeah.
thinking, yeah, is exactly what you just said. Is this a novel that's been very awkwardly adapted to the screen? They've chopped big chunks out, and so now it makes no sense on screen. Not that it makes a huge amount of sense on the page,
Well,
but then
it's what I found. And so the book's based on an original idea by Keith Cavell and Chris Hutchins. Yet
right.
neither of them are credited as that original idea on the film. Now, Cavell is still the producer of the film. Hutchins isn't mentioned at all. So, I mean, Hutchins was a sort of famous PR man, and then later became famous as a gossip columnist. So, he wrote an autobiography in which he briefly mentions the Golden Lady and that he and this other guy, Cavell, had written the film screenplay, but he became concerned by the financial risk and sold his half share in the film before shooting began. So I think when he left the production, they had to like throw out his script, and so someone else came in and completely rewritten it from scratch. So the film's screenplay is created by Joshua Sinclair, who's
Right.
an interesting character. He seems to have, at various points in his life, been a medical doctor specializing in tropical disease,
Yes, I
um,
remember
a,
reading
screen,
this.
a screenwriter of spaghetti western, an actor in Italian exploitation films, and a friend of Mother Teresa. So
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, which isn't an euphemism, by the way, like friend of Dorothy. I think he was actually.
But
Uh,
apparently, Jose Larraz wasn't particularly enthusiastic about his talents and got a quote saying, the script was written by some pretty boy who couldn't write a letter home to his mother. So
that's right. Yeah.
that's very true.
So, and the film was released in '79, but I was wondering if it might have been. It's quite possible it might have been shot years earlier as well, because I don't know. It's difficult to, although it does feel quite 1979. But
it does.
yeah, I don't know. So first off, when you went, I was like, oh, okay, interesting, because Jose Ramon Larraz. Let's start with the film. Jose Ramon Larraz is one of those people like I'm kind of interested in, and obviously I know him from Vampires,
Vampires with a Y.
Very Unnatural Ladies, as the trailer has. That trailer is fantastic. If you've not seen it, there's a very good documentary called Drive-In Madness, which you can find on YouTube now. I remember picking up, for some reason in the UK, we had a shortened version of it on VHS called Screen Scaries. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I remember picking that up at a Steam fair, actually, of all places, and like in a stall. And I took it home, and I loved it. I watched this documentary to bits, but it's a shortened version. And then I found out there's a longer Drive-In Madness, which is a lot of fun. But there's some really good trailers on there, mostly from Sam Sherman, right? Who did great trailers. But the great thing about Drive-In Madness is because they're mostly Sam Sherman trailers. Sam Sherman used the same scream sound effects in all the. So by the time you've watched all of Drive-In Madness, you've heard this one particular. "Ah!" like about 1,000 times by the end of the film. It's fantastic, but it is a really good doc. And the vampires trailer is on there in its entirety, and it's a great trailer. But anyway, so I've seen La Raz, and I've seen is it The Coming of Sin? Is one of his Spanish movies. It's the one with there's the famous scene of someone inside like a woman inside a bronze horse
Yes,
and
yes.
about to
Yeah.
be mounted. Yeah. So that's
Mhm.
good. Vampires is good. There's some other, but he also made some fucking awful films as well, right? Of which Golden Lady is definitely in that category. But I was quite shocked, like how rubbish it is. I mean, it's fucking awful, man. It's like there's nothing worse than a bad espionage film. They seem to be the worst almost when they're. But I couldn't make head nor tail of it, and didn't care to either. Do you know what I mean? So it was just waiting. I
But
mean,
I will say this. I'll read to you from the Golden Lady 1979 review by Gav Crimson.
Crime Zone, I think it's
Crime Zone,
called.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it, right? Gav Crime Zone.
yeah,
Um, when is a Jose Larraz film not a Jose Larraz film? When it's the Golden Lady.
yes.
That's how it begins.
Yeah.
Do you want to weigh in some more, Gav?
No, not really. No. Yeah, I must admit, rewatching this and rereading it, I was flooded with guilt that I put two other people through this
Good,
experience.
good. I'm glad at least you show some signs of humanity. And yes,
I've forgotten how muddled and how sort of how the film drags in the middle. It just seems to like consist of a lot of scenes of people like pacing around hotel rooms trying to work out what's actually going on in this film.
also,
And
we kind of glossed over that there. I think we should pause and just to give the reread, Gav, reread
I've read this book 3 times.
three times.
3 times I've read this.
Wow,
Awesome.
wow.
Um,
You could have read like a Dostoevsky book or something in that time.
um, so this thing has Desmond Llewellyn in it for 30 seconds,
Yeah, that's a particularly egregious cameo. Is it? Like,
playing
see
Q,
you.
basically.
Where have I seen him before?
And then what's his face from the Avengers, right? Patrick Newell, yeah, yeah, and he's in much more of it, obviously. Um,
But more important, it stars Ina Skirver, right? Or Christine World um, from Take an Easy Ride.
Yeah.
which I've
Uh,
never seen. But
or you
that
should.
okay.
Isn't there, didn't someone just announce, isn't it coming out? Isn't there a Blu-ray of that?
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I wonder what's going to be on there in the way of, because it's a short film, right? So I wonder what's going to be on there in the way of extras and stuff. I can't remember who's putting it out. I'm sure I'm not making this up. I'm sure it popped up somewhere on my Facebook feed recently that someone's putting Take an Easy Ride out. Uh,
So anyway, there's this. So I think this might be a bit of an urban myth that they changed the name for this film to Christina Whirl in order that they could bill
right.
her as Miss Whirl and give the impression she won the Miss World beauty contest. But
Oh.
I can't find any sort of anything to back this up in terms of like publicity for the film or posters or anything. So I don't know. That might be a bit of an urban myth actually.
Oh, okay. We also got June Chadwick, of course. Susan Danielle from that other classic Carry On Emmanuel.
Oh yes.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I
At
mean,
least,
there's a double bill for you. Carry
yeah.
On Emmanuel and the Golden Lady, and
Ooh.
you get handed like a razor blade on the way in, so you can just do yourself in halfway through. And of course, most importantly, hot gossip. Um, doing a kind of sexy English
Yeah.
schoolgirl uniform
Mm.
dance thing.
Blonde on blonde as well. Don't forget.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you were saying I was saying that you had mentioned that you thought maybe the Collins uh stud might have been part of the DNA of this thing.
Yeah, well, I suppose you get your sort of disco dancing, you softcore sex,
I think
musical
it's yeah.
soundtrack.
I think that's just in the air, isn't it?
Yeah,
With all the cocaine flying around. Yeah.
And that it's funny. I would say that the for me the film left me feeling a lot less icky than the book. The book felt like the adventures of Ghislaine Maxwell in some kind of horrible way,
yeah,
right?
that's
There's much more kind of her as a kind of
But
like,
with
yeah,
her as the hero of
yeah,
the film.
exactly, exactly. That's so I
Yes.
is something much more.
Yeah. And
About the
like
book.
and rather than end up in jail, the Epstein character is just like looking, she's one hell of a lady. I've been bested once again. Yeah.
Pretty much, yes. I mean, because
these
right, I mean,
characters like abuse children and they're like you profit from arms deal in a book, and like these are the heroes and stuff.
yeah,
Shit them.
it ends with her seducing what, a 16-year-old, like heir to like a oil fortune or whatever, right? And yeah, it's written in a fairly creepy way.
Well,
And then she's also kind of a pimp. Like she kind of has these young ladies who she uses to kind of go to bed with. Yeah, it's as I said, it's all very.
but what's really icky about it is some of these things are written, and you get the feeling that the people behind it, they know they're pushing buttons. It's almost trolling or just like fun. But the problem with this book is I the feeling I got behind it, it's that kind of weird. I think they I think they genuinely think it's all a bit classy in the same way as Paul Raymond, fucking Raymond for fuck's sake, but Paul Raymond thought you know, his stuff was classy, right?
Mhm.
And it's just, it's just not, right? Or that first Electric Blue tape, there's that whole segment where they do like, yes, we're going to highlight the most sophisticated in erotic entertainment, and it reeks of that late 70s fag end kind of I don't know, some lower middle class couple kind of putting on an orgy in Crouch End or something. But it's classy because they've got Kit Kats in a glass or something like that. Just it's straight out of that era. I should have been drinking a Watney's Party 7 or something while while reading it, I think.
But okay, so this is great. This is great, Clive, because you just brought up somebody that's mentioned in Gav's review that I don't know who it is, right? And I
Ooh,
had my take. So Paul Raymond or Raymond.
Ramond, please.
Um, so Gav, do you want to bring up how and why
Do you
you
not
brought
know
up
who Paul
Paul?
Raymond is, Nick?
Apparently not.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I had to Google him because I had my own image of who that actor was reminding me of.
Yeah.
But go on, Gav, you
Did I
explain.
say? Did I say he sort of looks like Vic Mail play cosplaying as Paul Raymond?
But wait, so, no, I don't think he did. But that's exactly what I. So I don't know who Paul Raymond is, but I thought it was like Alan Bustard, but somehow fused, but also fused somehow with the slightly later, like stringy haired, greasier looking, like bottom Richie. I was like, yeah, so you got two
Richard
different
Richard.
Ricks for the price of one. But yeah, sorry, does Paul Raymond look anything like?
No.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Okay.
I think they definitely went to the same hairdresser.
Oh, yes, he did have that period of time. Yes, yeah, I forgot, but yeah, the many moods of Paul Raymond, right? But
So who's
Paul, it's funny. Steve Coogan played Paul Raymond in a film
I
called The
can see
Look
that
of
very
Love.
easily.
Yeah, which I was just going to say, it's interesting that we talked about this off air a little bit, I think, Gav. So that film, The Look of Love, I don't know. So the first time I saw that film, I didn't much care for it because I was expecting the kind of the sleazy Paul Raymond story, and it's not really about that so much. It's more of a story of his relationship with his daughter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And rewatching it, I actually thought The Look of Love was actually quite a good film, but as long as you don't expect that Paul Raymond, right? So I would caution you, Nick. I think The Look of Love is worth a look, but it's
Okay.
maybe not it's not the Paul Raymond that
So
Gav
you
was
haven't explained to
referring
me
to.
who this man is. Is he a film director? Is he a
Oh no
producer?
no well
Is he a
yes, I
writer?
suppose, but yeah, what would you call him? Entrepreneur.
Well, I sort of we only own the Raymond Review Bar, didn't you? The famous London strip club.
Yeah, I suppose he's a bit
Yeah,
Hugh Hefnery a bit.
Okay, an entertainment magnate of some kind.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's sort of involved in all the sort of Fiona Richmond film,
Okay.
yeah,
financial, uncredited financial.
yeah, and he owned a lot. I mean, he owned a lot of property, and yeah, his obsession, I suppose, was he wanted to bring that kind of European erotic sophistication to the UK, I suppose,
Okay.
is
Okay.
how he might have put it, right?
Hmm.
But it's how could I say it's more I don't know. If you think Emmanuel is sophisticated, then maybe
Hmm.
um
Right.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of but yeah, he was responsible for a whole bunch of kind of now fascinating time capsule films of the era, though, right? Would it be fair to say, Gav?
Yeah, so have you seen Paul Raymond's Erotica? That,
I haven't seen that one yet. No, it's on the
that's
list.
interesting. Bridget LaHaye, sort of, in a British film, and she's kind of
Yeah,
like into
yeah.
Paul Raymond.
That's probably a glimpse, actually, just from you said. That's probably what he wanted to do more than anything else, would
Yeah,
to bring
I was
that
kind
kind of
of,
thing over.
I always kind of got the impression that sort of Paul Raymond sort of embarrassed by a lot of the British sex comedy sort of stuff, and that's why House of Straw Hill is like it's slightly different. And definitely when you get to that Paul Raymond erotica, you can tell it's very like attempt to make a more serious sort of Emmanuel sort of film.
Yeah, yeah. He's clearly in the wrong place at the wrong time because at the time, I would imagine all that stuff would have been thrown in the same basket as things like the Confessions films or Adventures and stuff. And I can imagine that Paul Raymond hated that kind of thing, right?
I don't
I
think he
guess.
likes sort of crude sort of vulgar comedy. Apparently,
Yeah,
he once fired a comedian for breaking wind on stage. He thought that sort of brought the tone down at the Raven Review Bar. A guy
right.
called Chubby Oaks. He was
Yeah.
in Hill's Moon. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he got fired by Paul Raven for breaking wind.
Yeah. The Nation wanted to see Robin Asquith climbing up a ladder and going like whoa or something like that. But Paul Raymond, I don't know, wanted to eat a lobster out of someone's vagina or something classy like that. Or,
Right.
I get the feeling. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting actually. As much as I have gone back and, like I said, I learned to appreciate that Look of Love film for what it is. I still think there's a gap in the market for someone to make a more uh, a sleazier version of that story, right?
I think there's meant to be like two Paul Raymond biopics coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was sort of like a rival one, but it never got off the ground. But
Interesting.
the, I think the Look of Love was originally meant to be called something like The King of Soho, but they couldn't use that name because this other intended biopic of him was also going to be called King of Soho. But that never came out. But the Look of Love came out.
Yeah, no, like I said, The Look of Love's actually a worthwhile film, but there's still a gap in the market for a more kind of a slightly seedier
Mm-hmm.
kind of look at what was going on. Or maybe, I mean, I suppose it could be maybe it wouldn't maybe necessarily have to just be about Paul Raymond. It could be about Paul Raymond and some other interesting. It's kind of surprising actually now, just thinking out loud. It's surprising I mean, obviously there were films made at the time, but it's surprising there aren't many films, British films, set in that era of Soho. Do you know, can you think of many films that deal in that? There's not that many, right?
Other than the 1970s.
Yeah, but what I mean is none kind of looking back that have been made since, like biopics of sleazy Soho of the
Yeah.
60s, 70s, 80s. I can't think of any really.
Probably not. I mean, there's that Last Night in Soho, but
But that's not really no.
Hmm.
No, that doesn't really that's more of a again, that's the when it does flashback, that's the slightly cleaner 60s, swinging 60s with a little bit of Matt Smith sleaze, but not that much, right? But yeah, no, um, I'm sure someone will get around to it at some point.
I'm surprised in the book of the Golden Lady, they also have a scene set at the JC Piccadilly. It's an actual cinema. I thought it was a bit libelous considering what goes on in that. Guy taking this woman who pretends to be like an underage French schoolgirl into this cinema. That was actual cinema.
Hmm.
Obviously, the owners of the JC didn't do such thing as mad publicity.
So, so it's interesting as well that the film and the book they diverge so differently from,
Yes.
but also they like both of them start with um this idea of basically the real politique of it is some unnamed Middle Eastern uh you know petrostate, right?
Hmm.
And people are jockeying for some kind of, but as far as I can, it stays a little bit more of a thread in the film than in the book, but both of them just kind of go a bit by the wayside, really, don't they? And
Yep.
I'm
And
not quite sure, like you were saying, Nick, I'm still not quite sure what the plot of
the
either
hell
is
is going
really.
on? No,
But they're
no,
both very different as well.
and
They
they
don't,
are. And
yeah,
I think the novelization or whatever it is, or the novel, if it was a novel before, was it we still can't figure this out, but it definitely leans into the sex, right?
yeah,
Where the film leans away from the sex and leans more into the action set pieces. When reading the book, I didn't really get the Charlie's Angels kind of feel that I got when watching the film.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe Jose Last signed up to the film expecting it to be like more like the book. That seems like more like the sort of softcore drama that he was making at the time, whereas the film is sort of like action packed James Bond aspirations.
Mhm.
Very old
very
fashioned.
unnatural
Yeah.
golden ladies.
I will say, and Gav, you brought this up in your review, but I had also made notes to for myself. I will say that it is very impressive. The very last act, that whole motorbike
Yes, helicopter thing. Yeah.
helicopter chase is fucking
Suddenly it's a
hair-raising.
film. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's like,
and not just that, but like that's very dangerous looking set of stunts that are being done there. Like that helicopter's way too close to that bike, way too close to those trees.
And he
Um,
does a lot of that Suzanne Danielle is actually in the plane,
yeah,
like a
yeah. No,
fearless
it's
woman. Yeah.
drivel and then suddenly gets its shit together for that one scene. It's weird. Um, but no, it is pretty dreadful. And the film, I mean, I tend to finish films even if I don't get on with them. But I have to confess, if I weren't obligated to have finished it for this pod, I never would have finished the book. I've Expose was all right, but Golden Lady was
You'd have,
pretty.
missed, you'd have missed out on being serenaded by Charles Aznavour.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it is pretty I mean, yeah, it's tough. You must three times, Gav. I mean, what's wrong with you, man?
Well, that's really funny, didn't I sort of came close to writing it up before, but I thought this is like push me over the edge. I might have to write
Yeah,
something
you'll
down.
have to this
Please
time.
do.
Otherwise, you have to read it a fourth time, which is just
And
madness.
And at the very least, you could do everyone a favor by warning them about what they might be getting into. Um, Jesus. Anyway, the
Yeah,
guy who
I
wrote
think for me, because it's that kind of thinks it's a little bit classy. I think that's my problem with it, more or less. Like if it had got so it never quite goes it never quite goes full on graphic. It always has that slight kind of ellipses kind of, and again, they think they're being classy, but it's just like just not quite giving you the goods, but ugh, like uh yeah, yeah. No, these are fuck you, Gav. That's all I've got to say.
At least I feel guilty about this.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you do. Um,
So
yes, I mean,
it,
yeah, I mean, anything else to say about Golden Lady or anything?
no, but my question is, do I need to read Jack Ramsey's SAS, The Soldier's Story, which ties in with the seven-part documentary series about the SAS?
His other two books aren't too bad actually. The Rage, which is about a rabies outbreak, and Death Game, which is about left-wing terrorists trying to disrupt the World Cup tournament.
Well,
Oh,
that
This
the
sounds
is
pretty good.
The
this is probably
Rage has an incredible front cover. I'm assuming it's
yeah,
supposed to be a painting of a dog, but it looks like a demented
it's Death
Easter
Game
bunny.
as well.
That's a good. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That is a good cover. But yeah, I'm looking at the cover of The Rage right now, and it's fantastically bad. Um,
It's a lot more quiet than you expected. It's not like an over-the-top killer dog sort of novel.
hmm.
Yeah,
Guys, I-
it's interesting though. This is probably his worst book, though. I suspect this one was more of a commission, to be honest.
yeah, and
You know,
again, like, it's weird to me. It's so different than the film that it doesn't really like. He's just if it was done after the film, then he's just thrown most of the film away and be like, no. Or if it was written before the film, then the film has thrown most of it away when they
yeah,
adapt.
I don't think most the original plan away.
Well, at least the
Uh,
film and the book show good taste in wanting to throw the other one
Most
away.
of it away. Yes. Sadly, what's left is still, yeah, you have to deal with.
Um, yeah, so there we go.
It's
Um,
also the only Jose Loras film whose theme tune is recently turned up as on a dog food commercial, the Golden Lady theme.
Really?
Yeah, in America, there's this dog food commercial. It's the dog running through a field in slow motion. The Golden Lady theme tune.
Theme
That's the
song.
Golden Lady. So yeah, they did that song now about a dog running through a field.
well, I suppose both iterations are kind of dog food. So
Mm,
yeah, that kind of
yes.
makes sense. Uh,
So I suppose if we have to choose between all four, I'm going to say we just go with probably just stick with watching trauma or expose
and
or
that's
that's
it.
and that's
Yeah,
kind of it. You can
yeah,
leave these other
yeah.
three pieces of the culture to the side. At least you get a pretty decent Udo performance, and what's her face is quite cute. Um,
I mean, Golden Lady is useful. I mean, what is it like? What is it like 2 centimeter? If you have a wobbly kitchen table, um, it
right.
has an utility
Hmm.
there. Other than that,
Yeah, what is
yeah,
it about? I mean, I think maybe I don't want to do it though, but like we need to dig in and figure out why are so many James Bond or espionage things shit. There's so few of them that actually work. Like I've
yeah.
watched dozens of the Italian ripoffs and almost none of them are good. We've watched a couple of the Shaw Brothers ones now. One of them was all right. Other ones have been fairly painful. Why can't anyone do
Don't encourage Gav. He's gonna get us watching fucking Lindsay Shonte films or reading novelizations of them even
Oh,
worse.
films. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It feels like you're right. It's like the worst cinema imaginable is either like a failed comedy or you know
Yeah.
a marginally successful espionage film is still quite painful.
Um, Actually, speaking of Lindsay Shonte, this may amuse you, Gav. See if I can find it here. God damn it, where's my copy gone? Here we go.
Mhm.
There's a recent book, which is actually quite good. I don't know if you know this book, Adventures in Haute Tourism by Daniel Kramer. A friend of mine on Facebook actually. It's quite good. I actually do generally quite recommend this book. And it's basically several chapters on kind of undervalued film directors. So, for example, Sidney J. Fury, which I think Daniel Kramer wrote a whole book about, Ted Kotcheff, Silvia Norizano, Harvey Hart, other ones, John G. Avildsen, Evan Passer, Charles B. Pierce, Peter Maddock. It's quite interesting. And then a lot of mini essays at the end about some more. But what made me laugh, and like I said, I'm not, in general, this book is actually, even though I don't always agree with his opinions, he's a very, very enthusiastic and opinionated writer, which is fun to read. But there's a chapter on Lindsay Shontef in this book. But what amused me is he's quite the cheerleader for Lindsay Shontef up until a certain point, and then no mention of those later spy espionage things, like just nothing, zip. Like, I don't know if he's just skipped over them or if he hasn't got there yet, but I thought that was kind of, because as I was looking at before I finished the book, I was looking at the index, and I was thinking, I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to recommend this book to Gav because there's a chapter on Lindsay Shontef, and then I was like, nope, no, it's fine. Although I do recommend it in general. It's quite an interesting read. Anyways, then we should probably round this up. Yes, Gav will never be invited back again. And show him the door. And I'm sure he'll be back in some capacity. It's always fun. It's always fun, even when it's not. Let's put it that way. So yes, until next time then. Cheerio.